Okay, hello, I'm Alexis Roussel. I'm a crypto entrepreneur in Switzerland since 2013. I had the first license as a broker in Switzerland, and we're set up in Neuchâtel, and we have a crypto community in Neuchâtel since 2013. And now I'm director of operations at NIM, which is a privacy company. We're building a mixnet, also based on blockchain technology, and personally I'm also crypto entrepreneur and investors, and with a lot of relationships in Ukraine.
Ruslan?
Hello, my name is Ruslan. I used to live in Kiev, now I'm living in Switzerland, in Zurich. Learned a lot actually from this country, positive moments. I used to run the fund, the first organized closed-end fund in the world. Then we organized another one, Task Capital, dedicated to blockchain assets and deep tech. And for the last 3 years, we have been working on Tech Atlas, augmented investment intelligence platform that actually allows on global scale the accessibility and the equality to the investment opportunities of millions of people and millions of companies. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alex Fedosiev. I'm actually American. I spent 25 years in Silicon Valley. Was part of 3 startups, and lucky all 3 successful, mostly cloud, smart home, and so on. And 10 years ago, I started a company in Web 2, which was decentralized, but before blockchain. And 2 years ago, I moved to Switzerland thanks to Canton Neuchâtel, as Alexis said. It's a very good competition to Zug. It's another blockchain innovation. And Ticino is wonderful too, so it's really multiple cantons involved. And we build a now Web3 solution on top of Web2 solution, which is the decentralized marketplace of content to connect creators, publishers, and advertisers into seamless, transparent, non-corrupt system. And relation to Ukraine is very direct because I'm using Ukrainian outsource for many, many years, probably like 15 years now. And of course, there was no question when we started new company, we brought the same people. And I've been through war situation twice. First time my team was in Sevastopol in 2014. So we had to do evacuation to Lviv. And now 2022, the team is in Kharkiv. So we're going through this again. And, but the good news is, I think this triangle between Silicon Valley, Switzerland, and Ukraine is a foundation of something like major innovation across the board. We in media, there are many companies doing health care, biotech, and many others, construction. I think that's the essential foundation for new economy.
Fantastic, thank you. So, yeah, now please let's concentrate on the trends, because each of you has your own experience. You're more knowledgeable of your industry than anyone else probably in this room. You have all your own speciality. So, Alex, if you can start with the trends, what do you see is happening in the world now, and how this can be used, or we should be aware of in Ukraine, if you might?
Yeah. Thank you for this. So I came in Ukraine first in 2014, just after Maidan, not at the events of itself, Maidan, and I came on the invitation of the first Bitcoin Association, and I think you were also in the room at that time. And I came because I saw a picture of someone during Maidan in February holding a QR code of a Bitcoin wallet.
During the revolution.
Yeah, it was really, the picture was in February. And they actually, I asked the story behind, and I tried to meet the people. I didn't meet the people, but I got the details of the accounts, and they had received $100,000 of dollars worth of funding at that time. So not the value today, the value of that time. So it was already pretty big, and it showed already some interest. So now, of course, the situation is much different. Like you said, there's a very high degree of competence and a very high culture of IT culture in Ukraine. And but there's some things which are very interesting, and with, of course, the war amplified this. I think the main thing is that people are using a lot the US dollar before. And because they have been moving around, now they're using a lot the USDT. So this is a trend that we see. So every time we see people, we have pictures of like People are just showing the Binance account and please pay on Binance in USDT, and that's the easiest way to go. We can see also that there is some, because war is a complex scenario, of course, right? People are moving around, and then there's interactions with a lot of people. So what is interesting is that a lot of Ukrainians go to Turkey, but also a lot of Russians go to Turkey, or to some places, like in Serbia also. You have a mixing of things, and all these people, for their own reasons, use USDT. So the Russian, because they cannot take out money out of their bank accounts. The Turks, because they have a very high inflation, and they have also they don't have an international payment system. So if you want to buy an apartment in Turkey, you have to pay in dollars. And so now they are switching everyone in USDT, and most of the clients are either Russian or Ukrainian. So you have this like system that people are exchanging a lot with this currency, which is interesting because it's totally not measured. So the banks don't see that. And it's a currency that has a high velocity. It can change from hand every day. So now the big challenge for Ukraine here that I see is that for the people, it's actually good. People are using it, and it's beneficial for the economy because it moves very fast. But the risk I see is that the crypto community in Ukraine, and I know we're very well connected to a lot of people, they are not part of that. And that's, I think, the big criticism I have to make from the outside is that it's completely taken by Binance and maybe some other actors. And that is something that needs to be changed because it will be a problem at one point.
I guess US government is going to show us what's going to happen to Binance soon, yeah. Dmitry, what do you think? So the threats here, I understand. The Binance is your threat. And the second threat is, I guess, USDT because it's also a centralized agent. Okay, but there is no alternative, right now. I mean, you could go for USDC, but it's...
Yeah, so I just want to point also is that people are using USDT, and I think most of the people who are using USDT don't know they're using cryptocurrency. They are just using, in their mind, they're just using dollar on an application, and this dollar moves better than the previous dollar they had on an application. The dollar on Privatbank, it's okay, but it works.
No, it's not okay. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work anymore. Okay, it's like once a day you can move money, or it takes. There's a lot of cost. So for them, they don't see the cryptocurrency part.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Dima.
Okay, for my opinion, there is one principal blocker in money transaction when we're talking about cross-border payment. It's currency exchange regulations and finance monitoring, which called QC and AML. So in each jurisdiction, there is different rules. And because of this, this is complicated to do such type of transaction from one economy to another, for citizens, for example, not for entities. And because of this, of course, cryptocurrency is a nice thing to use because there is no blockers, no limitation within cross-border payments and money transfers. But what I'm thinking about, so all government, as we heard before, somebody told that G20 will exist. Maybe it's a world, yeah? G20 will exist, others could fall. But my opinion, all countries, all big economies will try to control money, will try to control transferring and payments, and we try to control issuing. And this is the question because all regulation would be done with this requirement, with these ideas. And because of this, what we can see now, in a different territory, in a different regulation, we have a different meaning of crypto. Sometimes it's asset, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's payment services, sometimes it's commodities, sometimes it's goods. So who understands what is this? You know, in total meaning, we should everybody believe in one sense, not in different sense. So we can use it normally, because we will understand that our correspondent will believe that the meaning of this item is the same, and the cost I lose my words. So
Say it in Russian or Ukrainian, we'll translate.
no, it was Russia as well. So in Ukrainian better. So the cost of these items is the same, you know. So my opinion, because of different countries with different aims, will do different regulations. The main problem it's cross-border meaning. But at the same time, it's huge opportunities.
And on your presentation, you showed us the numbers, so this market is going to grow like crazy.
It's just a FinTech market, so I don't know. So I don't want to tell you or to speak about crypto numbers. You're better in this.
I'm telling you, these markets, the crypto and the FinTech will just merge. It's a matter of time, and then we're going to see the merger with the banks.
Yeah, they're totally connected.
It's just a matter of, I guess, maybe a year or two when we'll see the bank, traditional bank, owning an exchange, or exchange owning the bank, and it will be just one service.
The only one thing that I want to add. So, honestly speaking, my opinion, that banks ruled not by economists. They ruled by lawyers. Because lawyers, you know, they produce this requirement and they execute this requirement. So banks is under the law. It's not now under the economy.
And then again, I agree that it depends country to country, city to city. We have more crypto-friendly, we have less crypto-friendly, like Ukraine now, and so on. Ruslan, what you can tell us? Well, I see you have nice socks, not as good as mine, but...
Yeah, thank you. Same shop, yeah? Lugano, Plan B. You know, the biggest trend what I see is actually crypto, yeah? It's not a joke, because I guess we were in 2016, we were chatting with you and we were dreaming about, oh, do you know, like when is going to be 1 million users of cryptocurrency in the world? Right now is how many? It's like hundreds of millions of people, hundreds of millions accounts, and it is cool. And it's really amazing the reason adoption is growing and it will be better and better. When we are talking about USDT or USDC, the people don't even realize that they are using crypto. This is the mass adoption. This is how it should be. We don't care if they realize it or not, but this is the technology that is behind and is very user-friendly, much faster. They're getting more and more benefits. But talking about the trends that I see are really important in the world right now and that can be reflected and deployed in Ukraine as well. I think digital identity is a key due to the AI evolvement. What is happening with AI? We're going to see the loss of jobs. We're going to see a lot of tremendous things happening with the manipulations and with the really, you can create the website right now within the seconds due to ChatGPT and other tools. And to stop that, to control that, I think the combination with the blockchain, it is really the thing that will control and will build the single source of truth. Not only digital identity for the people, like a personality, but digital identity for the companies, for any communities. And coming to the communities, that will help actually many companies as well in Ukraine to access the global capital, to access the global partners, to be visible on global scale. Why? Because the numbers are pretty blunt. 65 million companies worldwide have an unmet financial need of 5.2 trillion every year. And this is only in developing countries. So unfortunately, Ukraine is over there as well. And to you can imagine how much capital is not actually deployed, or how many companies are actually seeking for the capital and they cannot find each other. And this is the problem, not of the chicken and egg. This is the problem of the instruments accessible. This is the problem as well of the verification of the processes. I'm talking about private equity market, private markets mostly. And this is the case, this is the trend where we can combine actually blockchain and cryptocurrency, many of the solutions that are already available on the market, with the stock market security that we have, but it is really low accessibility in the market. It is like for closed elites. And to democratize the access to the masses, mass affluent market is really huge. They have 250 trillion high net worth individuals, and mass affluent market have this amount of wealth. And this is not deployed capital. They have just only a couple instruments to invest. I'm calling the mass affluent as a quasi-sophisticated investors because they have, SEC even reducing this barrier for sophisticated investors, accredited investors every year. Before you had to, you've heard that, you know about that. But to provide this success, it's really important to match these technologies, to pick up the standards, to provide the security, to verify, and the digital identity for the accounts will, as based on the traction ledger, will help to sort a lot of things like credibility, trust. With the help of AI, we can actually pick up the best suitable investment opportunities, or the most relevant investors, or the most relevant partners. Because right now, we can see almost nothing. It is like really difficult for Ukrainian companies. We got like onboarded over 250 Ukrainian startups, insisting them on the fundraising stage and with the partnerships and so on. And we can see how it is difficult. But the world is evolving. There should not be such barriers. This market is tremendously huge. To achieve that, we will need to add as well DAO. But as you talk today about DAO is not only decentralized autonomous organization that we see a lot of protocols that actually not working because of the voting, the system itself inside, or the team can vote, or the treasury can vote, and there is no compromise over there. That's why meritocracy added to the DAO will be, I think, the solution. Because when you combine that with the mathematical models, you can see that people who are actually really expert in some field, legal lawyers, I don't know, economists, can be whoever, the plumbers, could organize the DAO, then are really experts in this field. They must have much more weight rather than the just ordinary community. This
but then
is not
again,
the same
it's a free market. I mean, why
this
you
is the
should
free
decide
market.
for them?
Yeah, absolutely. But if the plumber is voting for, I don't know, for accepting the budget that has to do with the bonds and stuff, he doesn't know. He might know, definitely, yeah, but he might not know.
That's a common problem. I mean, we can say exactly the same about the governments and the elections. I mean,
But this is replacement of the government. Yeah, we don't need the government in this case.
Yeah, but should the plumber have the exactly same voting right as the?
No, this is the same voting rights. Everybody should have the voting rights, definitely. But the system should be more decentralized. And in some cases, the experts should have a bit more power, voting power, I mean, rather than the average.
And you know, we both know where this ends up. The influencers from Instagram who yesterday were selling, I don't know, some courses, now they're crypto experts.
They should be chosen as well by the community.
People will be choosing them because simply they know this brand or whatever you could call it. So the system is highly inefficient. So
this is collective wisdom where you are getting to, and collective responsibility and collective trust as well in the end of the day. But if you are taking this decision irresponsibly, you may vote for, I don't know, Snoop Dogg to be who.
And people will.
Yeah, but they will, because he's an influencer. But will he satisfy the needs of the problem that they are trying to solve, They will not. And they
he can smoke with them and, the problems
will dissolve. This is a cool
dissolve.
thing. This is another DAO,
Thank you. Paolo?
Yes. First of all, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but I share most of the philosophy, and I really like the technology, so I'm really more, almost in this side of the story. But I'm also coming from the banking sector. I've worked in the banking sector, and I love banks. Saying that, I think the cryptocurrencies, is it Bitcoin, is it USDT, is it whatever you want, the Luga, why not? This is not important to me. What is really important, this is a technology is going to disrupt everything. And most of all, the banking sector, the financial sector. So to me, I see the future with cryptocurrencies, I don't name it, with something that will be named maybe still banks, but completely different. And that's why I'm talking to the banks to tell them, you have to change, you have to take into consideration that you could change, you should change. Because otherwise you just wiped out. And then the maximalists are right. So Bitcoin will take over on everything and we don't need banks anymore. So this is a huge opportunity for the humanity. I always say, to me, Bitcoin, when I approached the Bitcoin for the first time, I read the paper and then I read some information and say, wow, that's a Nobel Prize of finance, technology, cryptography, whatever, all the Nobel Prizes of this kind of fields. I mean, it's just amazing what they've done. And this is the message, very short message to Ukraine. Ukraine now is a very bad situation. It's very sad what's going on. I would say something maybe strong, maybe it's not the case, but there is an opportunity now for Ukraine. So the country is really going back in the infrastructure and everything. Everything is almost destroyed. So now you have to rebuild the country. And rebuilding the country, it's a big chance, naturally, if you get the right help. You cannot do, I think, alone. That's why EU, Switzerland, and all over the world, they should help Ukraine to rebuild. But now, don't let rebuild the financial infrastructure to the same people. Don't let this do by the financial sector, by the bankers, by the EU banker, by the American bankers. Don't do that. Just rebuild from scratch, make a big step ahead, adopt the technology, whatever technology you want, USDT, Luga, whatever. We give the Luga if you want, so we are very neutral, we are a city. But build on this, because then you make very big step ahead. If you take Switzerland, we don't need at all cryptocurrency. I mean, Switzerland is probably the most effective financial sector in the world. Banking in Switzerland is working very well. Okay, we have some problem in the last months, but it's not on the infrastructure, it's just on the mind of the people doing things that they should not do that, and then they're still repeating the same mistakes. The banking system is working very well, it's very efficient. We can pay immediately. We have apps and everything, even cross-border. So we don't need Bitcoin, we don't need cryptocurrency. Well, why do we adopt that? Or we try to adopt that? Well, because Switzerland has this very old story of democracy, of freedom. You said, one vote, but maybe sometimes somebody has to have two votes. No, this is no. In Switzerland, everyone has one vote. My vote is one, and the CEO of UBS has one vote on the democracy. And certainly has much more knowledge about me on certain fields, but this is the democracy. So sometimes you take decisions which are not perfect for the country, but it's a story which is going on and make the stability of the country. So forget about this question about voting, but this is very important for Switzerland to innovate. So that's why we are taking a look and using crypto and implementing project in crypto to see how it works. And when it's working a little bit much better than what we have, then we can change a little bit and implement. For us, it's not a big change, but then we can give this as an example of the rest of the world. So changing completely the infrastructure of Switzerland will take years. I mean, it's disruptive, but before you disrupt Switzerland, which has 700 years of stability, very difficult. We are trying, right? We are doing with the Luga, and Neuchâtel is doing. I mean, Zug is doing. Geneva is coming up too. So we are trying from the bottom, but the top still is going slow. But I give you an information, the Swiss National Bank, which is the most traditional central bank of the world in the most traditional country, well, they're working hard on the CBDCs. On the blockchain, they already have done cross-border payments, etc. And for instance, now if you take my bond, for instance, which is issued on the SIX Digital Exchange, which is a regulated exchange, there was only one small piece missing, which was we didn't have a Swiss franc to do an immediate transaction. So everything was on the blockchain, etc. But at the end, they should send me the money some days after that, after the issue. But now the Swiss National Bank declared like a month and a half, we are ready to issue a central bank digital currency, a wholesale, which means only for the financial sector, and we are ready to do the next bond on SDX, transacting immediately with a crypto franc. And this is an incredible announcement, which the rest of the world didn't even notice, because we are really bad in Switzerland to make advertisement of this. Americans are perfect on this. I mean, I really like it. I studied in Berkeley, so I know how the Americans, they approach this. But anyway, Switzerland is already there. So next bond in the few months will be done with immediate transaction with the central bank Swiss franc. Will be the Swiss franc from the central bank in the future or a Bitcoin transformation in Swiss francs? I don't know. I don't care. It's not my point. But we will adopt this. So Ukraine has to really go straight to the maximum level of technology you can adopt, because then you can accelerate the growth of the country. Because if you rebuild the banks like they are now or they were before, it will take another generation. So take this chance. This is my message.
Thank you very much. Cool. You see, that's why I like this city, because it's run by the people. I mean, the crypto-anarchists. I mean,
thank you.
You say you're conservative crypto-anarchist, but I think you're, for there.
Sometimes I cannot tell everything because it's Republic, right?
Thank you very much for your insights. Yeah, please.
First of all, I fully support what Paolo said, because the big jump and to avoid old mistakes is a very good move. I'm witnessing it in Saudi Arabia. I was there twice this year. We have NEOM as a customer, and we see what companies sometimes do, or projects do, to jump a few steps immediately, right, instead of going one by one. So Ukraine has a unique chance, actually, to bypass this broken system. We call it compliance, but in reality it's the old broken system. Even during wartime, the money don't travel nicely. I was recovering our CTO payment for 3 weeks with private bank recently. Just fiat money going from US to Switzerland to Ukraine. It takes 3 weeks, okay? So one thing I want to say is, structuring this discussion, we can classify these use cases for crypto in a few buckets, actually, because remember the first wave of internet were websites. And now we know there's e-commerce, there's social media, there's the e-banking, and so on. So crypto is about the same to happen, because we just covered different cases. Alexis was talking about the payment, because USDT or USDC is just a way to transfer, to make payments on a regular basis. Then we talked about Luga token, right? That feels to me as a mix of actually different characteristics, but it's utility, because you can get cash back, right, on the purchases and use them back to the same ecosystem. We did similar thing in Geneva, by the way. We call it Geneva Experience. And, but it was based on NFT, which is another big thing, elephant in the room. NFT is a combination of your digital identity and your membership in the club. So you get discounts not just from one brand, but pretty much all the brands. We get Palexpo Exhibition Center accepting NFT as a pass. The TPG, the transportation of Geneva, is about to accept it. And of course, you get discounts on local stores, which can be growing. So this kind of ecosystem, kind of NFT, is also a big deal. And a lot of other use cases. I think what's going to happen, we just need mass adoption. Doesn't matter which of them will be first. As soon as everybody is going to have a crypto wallet and use it on a regular basis, there will be a big, big change. I'm not sure how many of you know what Travis Kalanick said when everybody was rejecting Uber for financing, because he's saying, I'm going to bypass regulations. And he's saying, in France, in China, in this kind of countries, you're going to bypass regulators. And his answer was, once I create 10 million users, I don't care about regulators. Because there were so many people using it. It's like, back to your point, Paul, if Ukraine will develop the system that everybody is using, and it works for people, not for government, they can win, right? They can just wipe out this old broken system and put something much better. Similar what other countries do. And Singapore did at some point, right? They did was a big jump, and some other countries. So I think it's a huge chance.
Thank you very much, guys. Do we have any questions in the audience? We have a microphone. No. Guys, do you want to... Yeah, we have a question? Yeah, one sec.
Yes.
The question is, the CBDC, is it going to be the digital jail for the people, or, I guess that's the question, right?
Or the freedom.
No,
I maybe try...
let's try one by one, yeah.
I may try to give you an answer. It's very bad what I say. In the name of the Swiss National Bank, I am not representing Swiss National Bank, but I was in a panel last week with Thomas Moser, who is alternate member of the board of the Swiss National Bank, who was just next to me, and we were talking about this in a panel. And so I try to repeat what he said. Maybe I do some mistake, but the point is this. The Swiss National Bank sees CBDC as something very important for infrastructure, but they really state right now, I don't know in the future, that they will stop at the wholesale level. They are not interested in a retail CBDC, which means, we can use it everywhere. Aluga, but expanded, with no limits. He clearly stated that if we do this, then we can have a very big problem on privacy and traceability. And he really said, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to trace that as a Swiss national bank. So this is a very strong statement, which really tells me that Switzerland has really a high level of democracy because the institutions are not trying to get the power, right? But it's also said there are ways to create the no traceability of CBDC. I don't remember. You said if you don't check where you spend or something like that. So you can turn the system in the way that they cannot track you. So, but the central banks clearly say it, or Thomas Moser clearly said, we don't want to trace it. So right now we are not interested. So let's see the future what happen and then. But it was not we want to go there. But sure, there is a problem because then they know everything. Yes.
Yeah, I want to jump back into the reality of people. This is what I like. I'm totally against CBDCs because I'm a Bitcoin maxi, like mentioned before. But what is interesting is that I was saying people are using crypto and are using fiat. And why it will be a challenge if Ukraine creates a CBDC, because one of the reasons that people are moving to crypto without knowing that they're moving to crypto right now is that there are two exchange rates in Ukraine, right? There is the official exchange rate, which is about 37 hryvnia for $1, and then there's the street or the shop exchange, the cash exchange rate, which is about what?
Sometimes
42, 43, something.
Yeah, it's close to 40.
It's part of monetary policy.
40, yes, 45. And so, of course, people, they play this with cash. And now they have the option to play this with electronic cash, with USDT. And they will always take this disadvantage because it's 5 or 10% difference. And this is the reality of the market, which is driving people away from CBDC, because CBDC will have the normal official rate, of course. So I don't think right now a CBDC would be the right move for Ukraine, because they will not bring back the people who are trying to avoid the exchange rate, which is not the market exchange rate.
Thank you.
Okay, what I'm thinking, I would offer to split two things, technology and solution. So when we talk about technology, we're talking about blockchain. But CBDC, it's not decentralized technology, it's centralized technology. It's the same technology like using all national or central bank in all territories. So there is no changes. Yeah? When we will talk about control, of course, it's better control from government, because now government control all electronic transaction, but not paper transaction. Yeah, and changes of form of money. Yeah, we change paper money for CBDC with the same sense. It's money, but of course with CBDC we got better control. So in principle, the same question, we believe that this is the money, like paper money, like electronic money, so within these things, no changes. But for country, for government, of course, it's more control. So my opinion that all CBDC, and one thing. So when we talk about normal money, so paper money and coins, in economic, it's I could be not right, but I think bankers will help me. Approximately 5% of amount will be burned for emission, for turnover, and for destroying it. So for central banks, for national banks, it's each CBDC. It's a sense of economy of 5% of money turnover. So it's nice thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, we saw that CBDC actually didn't work pretty well in China. They were one of the first ones, yeah. And,
I think they work perfectly for
not
censorship,
really.
for creating
Yeah.
digital jails. Work perfectly with the social ranking.
Yeah, I don't know much what is happening in the United States here, but they still, Gensler cannot define what is Ethereum is. Yeah, pretty much mess. And to work with the CBDC is a completely disaster. Agree that in Switzerland, yeah, everyone cares about the privacy, like in Europe as well, but here especially. And I don't see it can work in European Union with the European CBDC and how it's going to be aligned with the GDPR policy. Not sure how they're going to manage, whom they're going to blame, the central issuer or the chain. If something happens, the information going to be discovered, and it happens all the time. It is very strict and very severe, but I don't mind CBDC if it is issued on Monero chain or something like that. You solve the problem with the 5% or whatever it is taking to issue the money to burn and to replace, but you have complete privacy.
CBDC might be okay if there are two conditions. One is that people trust their government. Okay, that's not the case, or at least they have a chance to elect their government. It's not the case in China. It's not the case in many other countries. But for example, Nordic countries like Scandinavians, maybe these guys potentially can do it. Sweden's working on this for a long time, by the way, 7 or 6 years. Eva Julin, I think that's her name. She did the tender, by the way, and they selected 6 companies. It was back in 2018 or 19, long time ago. Yeah, before COVID. And second condition, of course, is cannot be the only option. If this satisfied, like back to your point, when banks and exchanges are going to combine, it will be one financial institution that serves all the needs of people. Actually, as much as US is in trouble with the SEC doing crazy things, not able to answer basic questions, but there's some great innovation examples at state level. If you know what Caitlin Loan is doing in Wyoming, Custodia, what used to be Avanti, that's a perfect type of bank of the future because it's exchange, multi-coin, they support all kind of more or less trusted coins. They have exchange, they have 110% reserves versus 20% normal, so it's absolutely safe. And making money on transactions, not only taking people's money and investing in some weird stuff, right? Which is half of it is corruption. So this kind of model might work actually. We have CBDC and something else, but of course not Chinese model for sure.
Michael, if I can add something.
Yeah.
It is true that CBDCs for the whole central banks is very crucial, but they have to be careful what they do today. Before they could do whatever they want, you know. But today they have to be careful because there is an alternative, which is Bitcoin. And they are not going to control Bitcoin. So today, before to do something like this in China, be careful because if you really, do something wrong, everybody moves to the Bitcoin and that's it. So this is a very democratic way to come out from this kind of control.
Well, my view on CBDC is it's a technology maybe similar in power as the nuclear energy. So you can build nuclear reactor which will produce clean green energy if you do everything correct, or you can make dirty bombs. Depends how you use it. Same here. So I think it's inevitable that we're gonna see CBDCs, and then. I totally agree on your point. So in more centralized, more dictator-style countries, it will be hell. In the democratic countries, namely, we're talking more about Europe rather than US, because US is, although they are saying it's democratic, but it's not really. It's very, it's a big police state. So I totally agree. So in countries like Switzerland, you cannot just ban Bitcoin. It won't happen. So therefore, the national bank have to play the role where it's more beneficial for the end user to use CBDC than the Bitcoin. And again, then when you ask these kind of questions, it's always about the proportion of the population. So for the 90% of the population in the world, CBDC will be a jail. For the 9%, it would be, it depends how they adapt. For 1%, it would be just a heaven. Unfortunately, the department works again. But can we do anything about it? Yes, there is always a plan B. On this perfect note,
the name is perfect. And
thank
the
you very
B is
much.
also perfect.
Thank you for the speakers for having us. At 7:30, round the corner in the casino, from the other side, there is a club or a lounge called 7. So we start the party there. We're going to have the Ukrainian DJ, some drinks on us at first, and then, yeah, we just continue there. So see you there at 7:30. Thank you, and see you tomorrow, by the way.
Michael,
oh, yeah.
Can I ask one more question, please?
I can't see you, but...
I'm here.
I can still see you because of a bright light, but continue.
We are like a spy. You never see us, but we are everywhere. So I can agree with you. You are totally right. It depends from the country. So CBDC could be a real problem for. I mean, it's not a problem for Switzerland, but sometimes it's a problem for Ukraine because every government became enemy in our country. We always struggle with our powerful government. So the question is, there is a bank collapse which is coming in the States. So the question is, the cryptocurrencies, could it be useful? Can it help us to avoid of losing money, for example? And can it be helpful, and how to use it? Is this a stable coins or Bitcoin, or maybe you can know some other names of the coins?
Excellent question. I totally agree. The collapse is common. That's why I moved to Switzerland 2 years ago, because Web3 already was in difficult situation. And now everybody recognizes it. You know how many people left California now? More than 500,000. And these are entrepreneurs, people that actually create values and create jobs. Yeah, to your point, yes, it's imminent. There's 722 banks right now in trouble with liquidity. It used to be 540 in 2008 crisis. And I was in startups in all three crises, by the way, 2008, 2001, and now 2023. What a fun life to live. But now we have also pandemic and war, right, on top of the crisis. But that's, of course, a good opportunity to wipe out something that doesn't work, right, and have some radical change. So many of my friends took their pension funds from 401k and IRA. These are two typical American ways to save money, put them in Bitcoin, including Ukrainians, people from Kyiv that I know very well in Silicon Valley. So that's always a choice, but I would say that the majority of people don't do just Bitcoin, they do index, and there are different ways to calculate. Like, for example, NIM has a token that's amazing quality on the market. It's not advertising. I just talk about the use case, right? If you see a token which is not Dogecoin, but it's something with a use case, right? I just use an example because this person is here, but could be others, right? Out of the old 2017 wave, there are still some tokens that actually have use cases, like Brave, right? Basic attention token. Like 99% died, but there's 1% of healthy, but it's not any different from 2001 and 2008. Same story, right? .com crash was 99%, wiped out. Same goes for the tokens. We just need to know this 1%, maybe 10%, and put money in index, not just Bitcoin. With all respect to Bitcoin, is, you know, growth might be moderate, but some tokens which are healthy, and especially ABT down the road, the asset-backed tokens, because many companies are going to do it. I'm not sure if you guys watch in the market. Franklin Templeton just announced it, right? They literally put in the, applied for a SEC literally yesterday for the tokenization of assets. And it's the biggest American pension fund. Saudi, Dubai, all kind of, Singapore and Hong Kong, all of them working on ABT very, very seriously. So it could be index of investment to protect you from collapse, right? Because inflation going to become hyperinflation. And of course, US dollar and USDT along with it probably going to be in deep trouble. So yes, it's time to save money.
Not to save money, not in stable coins, but in real projects with the use cases, with the business models, like to invest not in the coins, but in the business model. Yeah, am I right?
Exactly. Like people who invested in Uber after 2008 crisis or Google in 2001, these are the people that actually were well off, right?
Yeah, and one more question. So about Bitcoin, is this a real business model or just a speculation? So what, on your opinion, what is this in this case, in another edition, I mean, economical conditions in the world?
I'm not maximalist. I like various coins. Maybe some other guys will answer.
It's probably a reserve of value. Still not sure, I think, because, you know, very close to gold. But if you take into consideration gold is just a piece of metal, so at the end of the day, you know, we are really strange as a human race, right? We give a lot of value of some metal. Why gold and not something else?
Piece of code.
A piece of code. But, you know, if you're really scared about the collapse of the banking system, putting in stable coins there is nothing. I mean, it's nothing because you have seen, you have USDC. They had 3 billion in the Silicon Valley Bank, and they lost the parity. They went down to 85. So it's just a game. It's just too centralized. I think this is not an investment advice, but I think in the world there is only one, crypto, which is this probably store of value, which is Bitcoin. I'm talking like a maximalist now, right? But this really, from the financial point of view, this is it. I mean, you put there and you hope that when everything will restart, everybody recognizes the value, maybe the value increases, and then you have saved your money. Yeah. In any case, there is no inflation there. That's a very good point. So this is clear, and from the financial point of view, it's perfect. But then if you put in Tether, you put in Luga, whatever, I mean, if Credit Suisse collapse, Tether have maybe 10 billion in Credit Suisse, that's it. Tether is gone. So
I just wanted to add, if you save crypto, save it on your private account, private wallet.
For sure.
If you give the crypto to the bank, you don't trust the banking system, this is good, but this is not your money anymore. You're given to the exchange, it's not your money. Only whatever you can control and have the access 24/7, and you only.
As the owner of the exchange, I confirm that, it's not your crypto.
I want to give a small message of like utopia, maybe, where we can go, because Bitcoin has one specific thing that even Bitcoin maxis, they don't always understand, is that Bitcoin is the only coin which is the result of an industrial process. So you have a transformation of energy which is happening, and you have a production of energy somewhere, then you have transformation into a hash power, and then you have a whole industry of a whole type of investment, hardware engineers who have specific competencies, and it creates a whole ecosystem. And it could be, and I think Salvador did already the bet on this, it could be the backbone of the next financial system. And so if you store Bitcoin yourself as a country, and you have an industry that uses Bitcoin in the energy sector as a modular consumer, you produce maximum, and then you modulate the difference between the production and the consumption of the people and the industry with Bitcoin. You have something which is helping you to develop your system. And the hope here is that Ukraine was traditionally a very highly producer of energy, and it was overcapacity. It had 30%. So when the network was destroyed up to 40%, then we started to see the blackouts, right? But before it was an overproduction, and now again it's overproduction, and we see they start to export energy again towards Europe. And then the other thing that is happening is that because of the destruction of the infrastructure, people started to decentralize and use smaller systems, interconnect, have batteries at home. The battery market is exploding. So if you connect a decentralized energy grid which is much more in control with people, and hopefully a real industry of Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin in general around it, you can have really a backbone of a financial sector which is based on crypto and based on this, on Bitcoin. It can be very solid. But so that's a message of hope I'm sending there.
Let's wrap it up, finish it up, and let's go.
Okay, about crypto. Crypto as well as fiat, it's a myth we believe in. Yeah, and the problem, it's not in the myth, but problem it's in a business model which uses myth to get some profit. So someone want to use something you believe in to get some profit on it. And problem not in instrument, but in business model. And we clearly understand it. And I think it will be a lot of form of money in the future. But, I just remember one movie called Time, Movie Time, yeah? When the only measurement, it was a time you have until you die. So before this, I would like to offer lifelong and fun. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you.